What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, the podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the True Gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Shepra. How you doing today?
Doing good. I remembered that we're left to right
Aha!
on screen, which I'm super happy about.
Content grid, not just a
hat rack. But I am still feeling very naked. The battery replacement for the laptop did not go swimmingly.
Oh, well.
And I don't really want to spend I think based on the quote they gave, it was like 400 quid basically to get it back up and running, probably. And I don't want to do that because that's halfway towards just a new MacBook or laptop. Like a little bit of me being like getting into computer nerdiness wants to maybe just get an okay laptop and put Linux on it and be like hackermans just to have it. But
you can download that Steam game Hacker. Watch. What's it called again?
There's plenty.
You found it for me, so I'm like, oh my god, how did you do it? But that game, and then you're a hacker again.
That's right.
Uplink. That was it.
Uplink. There you go. Okay. What about you? How's things?
Things are going okay. I'm back from Poland. We've watched the showcases and all the fake E3s, the Summer Games Fest and stuff like that, which we're going to be talking all about this episode.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot to talk about. But other than all of that,
you do? I'm surprised by that. Okay.
But I have been having a lot of fun. I've been doing some proper hardcore gaming.
What have you been gaming?
I have been replaying The Witcher. The Witcher 3.
Oh yeah.
And my god, I've been. Maybe it's just because I'm old.
Pause. You playing it on the PS5? You're playing it on the ridiculous Beast Rig?
I'm playing it on PS5.
Okay.
Because they did the
wrong answer. I'm just curious because you have that thing's a monster.
I did play it one time through on
sponsored by Respawn.
When I got the PC. I think it was the previous PC.
Yeah.
When I got that, I did a bunch of mods. It was nice and fun. I had some fun with that. But for some reason, it didn't stick. I've got this weird thing. Maybe I'm just getting old.
Playing on console is actually more immersive.
Yeah. I mean,
it is.
I prefer my controller. I like it. A lot of people like controller, even PC gamers and whatnot. But you know what's really weird? I don't know if I'm getting old or whatever, but some memories of games aren't sticking with me as much as they used to. So I'm having a hard time remembering a lot of The Witcher 3. I don't know why. Maybe because when I first played it and I really fell in love with it, it was back in 2013.
15.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been almost 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe that's the deal. But I've replayed it since, and for some reason, those playthroughs don't stick with me. However, I'm playing it now, and I'm doing it. Like, I'm playing every nook and cranny.
Yeah.
I'm not fast traveling anywhere. I'm always taking Roach or running through Novigrad or whatever it's going to be. And I'm discovering things I feel like I'm discovering for the first time, which is amazing because everyone wants that experience. When they're like, oh, I'll play my favorite game again for the first time. And
you always see that where someone's like, oh, I just played this. And like, man, you're so lucky.
Yeah.
Because I wish I could play that for the first time.
And I'm doing it. And I'm like, I'm going through Novigrad and Geralt says like a random thing. He's like, that's a weird scent. And I'm like, that must mean something.
Yeah.
I turn on Witcher senses and I see like a scent thing and I follow it. And there's a dead body. And then I investigate the dead body. I'm like, I don't remember any of this from my first playthrough. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Was that the serial killer mission?
Yeah. And I'm like, crazy.
It's a great mission.
Right?
Do you know that mission? Do you know what happens in that mission?
Yeah, I finished it. Cool. And I was like,
well, what was the villain?
Wait, hold on.
Did you finish it?
I think I'm actually still going through it.
Cool.
Let's spoil it.
I'm not going to say anything. I just want to know what you do.
I'll report to you.
Thank you. Yeah, because that's a great mission.
I was just like, this is the.
Do me a favor, save, and you can come back in case there's a different way to play it. I'm just saying.
Oh, good.
Because that's a great mission. Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, that feeling of being able to play it all over again is coming back to me. Maybe, this is the advantage of getting old. It's the advantage of getting old. Your memory goes away.
That's
it. Play all over again. Dementia is actually good.
I assume you're going to do the DLCs as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will do it right back to back.
Still set the bar, by the way, for DLC. CDPR, they've nailed DLC. They just, especially Heart of Stone and Blood and Wine.
Yeah.
Like, those are just... I don't think I'm aware of a DLC that's anywhere near as good.
Yeah.
I don't like...
I did really like Left Behind from The Last of Us, but it was quite a lot shorter.
It was
quite a lot more condensed.
I think Heart of Stone is like... 11 hours or something, and then Blood and Wine's like 15 to 18. They're almost standalone games. They're so good. They're so well refined.
Did I mention who I was romancing?
No.
Okay. I mentioned it on one of the streams, I think. So I'm choosing to go for Triss this time.
Okay. Is this your first time doing it?
I've never done Triss, to my recollection. Obviously, I'm forgetting a ton of that.
Okay.
I think every single time I've always been naturally drawn to.
She's the obvious choice.
Yen, right? It's always been Yen.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. She's the obvious choice.
This time I'm gonna go for Triss, and I did the kiss in the courtyard thing under the fireworks, and then I begged her not to go when she was gonna go on the boat with all the other mages and stuff like that, and she stayed back.
Wait till you do the wish. The wish with Yen is...
How is it going to be impacted now now that I'm actively going for Triss and not for... Because that's such a beautiful moment.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? It's one of the best moments in gaming. It's yeah, you should just wait.
And I have to reject her. She's going to be like, oh my God, you really are my destiny. Fuck you, bitch.
That's basically it. That's basically it. And it's awful, but it's also great, if that makes sense. Because... the way you're doing it is... Sorry, guys. I swear. The way you're doing it is that Triss is the real love. And you're playing it with magic brought you and Yen together. But outside of that, Geralt's fallen in love with Triss. Naturally, and it's real. Yeah. Didn't take any motivation by the universe. Right, exactly. So you just got to focus on that. Because the witch is pretty rough. But it's great. It's fantastic. And this is why I love romances in games, because if they're done like this, either Yen or Triss is a great option, Panam or Judy, Baldur's Gate 3. They're just, when they're done right, they add so much to a game. When they're done wrong, they take away from it. When there isn't one that should be there, it's very obvious. Like, I think Ghost of Tsushima is my most obvious. Like, even if you don't romance, I forget her name, Yuna. Even if you don't like romance her, the fact that they're there on that watchtower alone drinking the night before the big battle, and they've shared all of that stuff, they've trauma bonded. He's come to realize that
it's natural, isn't it? It would happen.
And she's come to realize that this guy isn't just like a rich dude, sport brat, samurai type, and he's come to realize that actually, like, she is all the bad things, but she's not bad. And a lot of people that do these things are forced into it and all that stuff. Like, they've grown so much together and they just hang out for a bit. It seems weird. It's a glaring oversight. I don't need the sex scene, but like a kiss and fade to black, perfect.
Yeah.
Felt very out of place to me. So it's interesting that you're romancing stuff. I'll tell you that personally, while I do pick a main romance, in The Witcher, my very first playthrough, I was like, I am going after everything. I had 3 swords: silver sword, steel sword, pork sword. I was going after everything that moved.
Is that a Lesher over there?
Roll to romance.
Let's get out.
I mean, it might have some splinters, but I mean, he can heal. You know,
exactly.
Talking about space, we'll get off the Witcher stuff. I swear, I know, but one of my big beefs with you is you'd always go what's the red path and the specking path, the cat or whatever. But you went for the swordplay stuff, which is fun.
Sorry,
you good?
I had like an M&M maybe an hour ago, and it's just like
what?
And it's just like in my throat now. Anyway, I have changed it quite a bit. So in the beginning, I did put a little bit in the to boost my attack power and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's plenty. It makes sense.
But now I've put a ton in my signs, and I've changed. I've had a look at the. This is so funny because previously I would just play swords. That's all I am.
Slash, a little bit of fire.
Exactly.
Or like whatever sign to break them out of the thing so that you can cut them up. Yeah.
When I necessarily need to, no problem. I'll put that trap down right there.
I hated that one. I was so bored.
The problem is I was like, these things aren't like flashy enough for me.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree.
Yeah?
I totally agree.
So I'd always just do like sword fighting, and that's how I defeat everybody. But now I've expanded my horizons.
Yeah.
I've got all of the oils, all of the potions, and buffed my signs. I've even buffed my Jurden sign, so it's like when I drop it down, it's bigger, and it creates damage and slows down the enemy, which is such a fucking huge
It's
help.
so good, yeah.
Like,
it's actually useful once you use it.
Exactly.
Like buff it up, yeah.
And it's so much more fun. I feel like more like what you said, like a Witcher.
More like a Witcher. I'm going to blow your mind. This sounds so dumb, but actually the most overpowered tree is the potions tree.
Yeah.
If you upgrade your potions...
I've upgraded my toxicity
limit
tolerance and whatnot.
If you upgrade like how good they are and the oil efficiency and stuff, it doesn't feel like, and early on you can't feel it, but by the end game, like what you really want to do is you want to like max out your potion stuff, upgrade your signs, and then do a couple of extra things in your attack. They're basically irrelevant. The signs, the potions and stuff, just cut through so much of it, and you really feel like a witch. I would recommend you put some points into the potion. Just have a read through it and just be like, for example, if you're going to go fight a vampire and you get like black blood, but it's upgraded, then you have like the Ekimora decoction, which is just health on attack. Oh, anyway,
I'm doing all of the missions in level order, so I'm not progressing in the story so much until I go through my Witcher contracts, I go through the side missions. If there's one at my level or below, I'm doing that first. I'm not moving on to the next one.
Witcher being excited about it again.
Right? Yeah. And I'm getting all of these experience points, so I'm getting a ton of like ability points. So I should be able to put some in that as well for you. I can tell you how it is.
It'll change your world, I tell you. And it's not what you naturally want to do. You and me are, I don't know about, I am very much a stealth is optional kind of guy, and I do that a lot in my gaming as well. And what I find is like I'll get to like level 10, have had no points in anything because I don't like to read tutorials. And I'm like, man, this game's hard. Oh, wait, I'm still using starter gear with no upgrades, you know? And then just dump it all into attack. But, so yeah, it doesn't feel like it, but I'm telling you, potions and decoctions and stuff, it's the way to go.
I'm gonna buff them and let you know how it goes.
Anyway.
Bro.
Yes.
Before we get too deep into this episode, let's thank our super bro who supports us over at patreon.com/Conbrosations. Thank you, bro, so much. And it's our bro, Sheps is crusty lighting up right there. It's just thank you so much. The crust of this seems to be endlessly flaky. I don't know how
Jesus Christ.
It seems to fall off, and then tomorrow there's a brand new flake there.
Yeah, that's
it's
like not Parmesan on your.
It's like snake skin. It just keeps coming up. Could you imagine if your nutsack shedded like that? I'd collect it just on the side.
Do you know what's weird is I got recommended recently lizard shedding videos on like my feed just as I'm scrolling through. And I gotta say, this one person, this snake was like shedding its skin, and he held onto it, and like the snake like crawled out of it, and it had this gorgeous like oily, you know, that oil slick stuff, and it looked like that snake felt really comfortable afterwards. It just looked like it was really felt good, and it was very pretty to look at. But I don't know, man, lizards, they don't creep me out, but like lizards, man, what?
I tell you what does creep me out. I've seen a crab video where crabs change their like, exoskeleton and whatnot. And when they come out, there's so much, because they're like soft shell essentially after that. They're so much bigger than what their fucking shell was. Could you imagine how cramped it was in there? Like you said, they probably feel amazing when they get out. They're like, oh,
imagine you get out of your shell and you're like fully gained up. You just had like a big bulk.
Yeah.
And you're in your most vulnerable state to be.
All right.
You want to be like, yeah, check me out. I'm new size crab. But actually you need to like get away.
Be careful there. Be careful.
Get into that tin of olives.
Yeah.
So there's a show.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you for the support.
Krusty right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's kick it off with our topics, which are the 3 big showcases that happened recently: Xbox Showcase, Summer Games Fest Showcase, and a State of Play. I'm going to kick it off with Xbox's one first of all, which happened just last night, and it was actually very good.
Okay.
Very unlike Xbox. It was actually entertaining, well-paced.
In fairness, Xbox's stuff is usually very entertaining. That's sort of the smoke and mirror act they do.
Yes. However, there was a different air about it. I don't know if it was me personally. I did see a positive reaction online, so maybe everyone else is feeling this. Maybe it's since Xbox has gone third party.
Yeah.
I know they haven't said too in as many words, like we are third party, but every game is now coming to every other platform. So they're, for all intents and purposes, third party. Maybe it's them going third party. It's taken all of that pressure off and all of that weight off, that now when they show something, we're like, cool, we're going to see this thing.
Yeah, they're not trying to compete in the console war anymore. They're just trying to make games, which would be a great timeline for us to be in.
Right.
I'd like to be in that timeline. I mean, I want the Xbox to still exist, but...
I was going to say, like, we had our doubts about, like, oh, man, is this a good idea? If they go third party, if they go away, is this a good idea? At least this showing showed that there is a positive way that Xbox can exist just by making video games. That's the only focus. They don't need to think about any nonsense about competing with PlayStation, etc.
Yeah.
Because they can't. But then they can just make games and people can enjoy them. At least when I was watching the thing, I was like, oh, this looks interesting. That looks cool.
Maybe 3 or 4 games on your stream before I had to go, and they did look interesting.
Right.
It was a bit strange because it looked like, from what I saw, it looked like smaller games, like what they were saying. We need small houses, dev houses that make good games that win awards, having just closed. But
that was a hilarious thing to say right after they did that.
But it did look like that's what they were making.
They had some decent big titles, I will say. They had some small ones in there, but they had some decent big titles. So they had, in total, 30 games at their show. Okay. Now, 20 of them are multi-platform. Sure. They're already confirmed as multi-platform. And the last few games are either games that have yet to be confirmed as multi-platform. Like, they're just still too new that they haven't said anything. And Microsoft is still playing that song and dance where they're like, this game is coming out soon.
Yeah. Like, why?
Oh, yeah, Xbox will have it. Yeah, Xbox will have it.
Right.
Oh, yeah, and also PlayStation will have it. That sort of thing, but like later on down the line.
At the end of the day, they do still have a product that they have to support. So.
And they have a fan base that are feeling betrayed at every turn.
Yeah, or don't understand what's going on. Because they don't have the IQ points.
So they need to, like, be very careful. They're taking off the Band-Aid very slowly, which is... sometimes worse.
I totally agree. Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
As long as Phil Spencer's not going to whine that they can't make good games and people sell their PS5s, like, obviously when you phrase it like that, but why don't you just make good games? Yeah. As long as if Xbox has moved to the just make good games phase, I don't really care about the rest, because that's what I want. I want Xbox making good games that keeps Sony and PlayStation on their toes. And if Xbox makes good games that go everywhere, maybe Sony stops the nonsense with the PSN plus whatever sign-ups, because more than half the world can't get those.
Yeah.
So maybe they just go, actually, let's drop this.
Facts.
It's silly because there's some actual competition. At the minute, there's no competition. That's why Sony can get away with doing this stuff, because there's only 2 places to play good games. PC, so your Steam and one of 10 million launchers, or the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And I want good games on Xbox. Ideally, I want good games that push Xboxes. I'd like to have an Xbox with, like, man, do you know what I want to play? Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. Man, what am I going to pick between? I should really finish up that God of War DLC. Nah, I'm going to play Game 2 first because it's newer. It looks great. That's the world I want to live in. And if we get there, I'll be happy. Yeah, I'll be happy. That's what I want.
It looks like, at least from this showcase, it looked like that's the direction we're heading in. Which, hopefully. Let me run over some highlights for you. So they opened up with Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
Yep.
Actually looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, I saw some... Was it Bill Clinton?
Yeah.
I was like...
It's like a fake Bill Clinton, but it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so it looks like they're doing the OG... that Black Ops feel is back, which I didn't... When it was in the future, I don't really get it.
There's something about going into the past that feels a bit more gritty and a bit more grounded.
Especially in that sort of, like, just around Vietnam era.
Yeah.
Like, World War II is great, but something about just around Vietnam where, like, there's a lot of Black Ops shit going because it's just been invented from World War II.
Yeah.
And now we've got a brand new war where there's, like, not that many eyes looking. Like, there's some hardcore shit going on.
It's very cool. It's a very cool era. So the campaign, that part looked very, very cool. I'm very interested in it. They spoke at length about it after the showcase as well. And it kind of made me surprised. I was like, because... you do get the feeling nowadays that Call of Duty is pretty much just Warzone. No one cares about anything else. Everything else is just nonsense. Yeah. And they didn't talk about Warzone at all. They did try to sneak in. They were like, can we talk about Warzone? They went, no. They were not.
Go away.
But they spoke at length about the campaign, multiple times. I was like, this looks really good right here, and round-based zombies is coming back as well, and that also looked very good as well. I was like, there was like a facility, and there was like this ultra big gun on it, and I was like, this is really fun.
One of the things about zombies, I'm a bit torn because I know people still play it and enjoy it, and I think if you grew up with the Nazi zombies as it in its most recent iterations, then the old stuff just looks stale.
Yeah,
but you and me grew up on like, well, I grew up on the OG World at War zombies, but like Kino der Toten is probably like my map.
Oh, just saying the name.
Like I still know all the runs.
Yeah.
And the fact it had enough, so you had like the pack punch, you had, you know, you could upgrade things, but it wasn't insane. And now, like, I think I saw, do you remember Syndicate?
Yeah.
I saw a stream of his ages ago, and he was doing like a more recent map, and he's running around a castle, and there's like inverted gravity fields and dragon heads that come alive or something. It's just, it felt like there was a bit too much going on.
I feel you on that. I feel you.
I really want that mix of like hardcore. Do you know there was a good story in all of that?
Yeah.
There's like insane lore. I really want that insane lore, heavy lore, but that you have to, in a weird like a Dark Souls type way, like you have to find it. It's in there, but you have to go looking for it. You don't get told it. With relatively simple, like zombies are attacking you.
Yeah.
You get sick guns and maybe stuff to add to that, but I don't need UFOs coming in and then like I don't need to do a round in a UFO and then drop down. That's a bit much.
It's the unfortunate gaslighting of themselves that developers do, where they're like, we need to do more, we need to add more, even more things and make it crazier and bigger, and it's like, chill out, because that's a slippery slope and eventually you've lost all the identity.
The thing is, you can do that with simple stuff. So like instead of having a UFO come in, you do a round on a UFO. What if like there's a 1 in 1,000 chance when you spin the box that everybody gets roller skates for a round? Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, yeah, you changed it, but like hardly at all, but enough, you know? Anyway, besides the point.
Anyway, that looked great. I'm actually interested in that, and Call of Duty might be back, lads. Might be back. We'll see what goes on.
I kind of miss the OG COD days. It'd be hard to get everybody. I think everybody's at the age. Everybody that has kids in our friend group, they're at the age where the kids go to bed and then they have some time. Whereas like
2 hours, something like that.
When the kids are young, like really young, you're not going to risk them waking up, and you just don't know. They just don't have those consistent times. But now, where some people's kids are going to school or nursery or whatever, like maybe we can all get on. That would be good fun, I think.
Yeah,
we're bringing COD back, boys.
We're bringing it back. Indiana Jones was shown off, and the trailer, the quick cuts in the trailer, the environments, everything you see in there mixed with the music, the classic Indiana Jones music, looked fantastic.
Okay, I'll need to check this out. Send me a link. Oh.
Yeah, I'll send you. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. However, they showed an extended like cutscene of like a moment in the game, and that didn't look very good. The Harrison Ford voice isn't Harrison Ford, so it's I have to put like
I'm
an
okay
actor that
with
goes
that.
in.
Harrison Ford's like 80.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate when he looks like Harrison Ford, though. It's like you're expecting that voice, so it's a little bit off. It's close. It's not 100% there, which is one thing, but there's an air of cheapness about it. Bear in mind, this is my personal opinion, so I may be seeing something that maybe you guys don't see, or maybe, and don't let me influence you however you feel or whatever. But for example, imagine, because this is actually what is happening when it's a mocap studio, imagine an actor acting with nothing in front of them.
Yeah.
And how obvious that is sometimes.
Oh, without any props, any blue screen props or anything.
So there's like a bit where they're like on a ship and the ship's gonna like move or something from an explosion happens, and there's crates moving all over the place. And they're barely interacting with anything around them, and they're just doing that thing where they're like, oh, like that, and they're moving around stuff, and they're stopping before the crate while the crate flies by, almost like, I mean, imagine
they're like on a flat surface, pretending that the surface is not.
It feels like that, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't look very great.
Even you and me, if we were doing mocap, we'd knock up a platform that moves,
right? Something, you know, and it makes me feel
spray paint it blue,
right? Whatever was. it just feels it's such a far cry from like Uncharted, for example, like Uncharted 4, which when did that come out? 2016 or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of all of the action scenes in that. It's also like dynamic and he's getting hit by stuff and it's all interacting.
It's an important comparison as well because that's the game it's going to get compared to.
Right, because
that's what Uncharted got compared to. It is literally a one-to-one comparison.
Exactly.
That is apples to apples, isn't it? There's no getting away from it. Yeah.
In that scene, just that scene, it didn't look great.
Okay.
As I said, in all the trailer parts where they're like quick cuts and things like that, everything looked fantastic.
I don't buy trailers though.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We've been burned by trailers all before.
Trailers look amazing. You can go back and look at the World of Warcraft 2006 cinematics and they still look good. Even Warcraft 3 cinematics. We're talking like early 2000s. The cinematics, the CG stuff, that all looks good. And I don't care if it's captured in-game footage. If it's curated, it can be made to look good with very simple editing skills and camera angles and stuff. I need to see gameplay.
Yeah.
It's a little bit worrying that the gameplay may not be there. I would love it to be. Indiana Jones is a great, it's a great pick.
Yeah. I'm hopeful. It's just that one bit just shook me a little bit. And it was, unfortunately, the only bit that was like an extended look. Yeah. Everything else was all just choppy. And then it was like, oh, we're going to actually see some cool stuff. Oh, yeah, okay.
See, I'm less hopeful because the current iteration of Xbox has butchered names as big as Indiana Jones. At least in gaming, Halo is Halo's OG. Yeah. Halo. If you can let Halo die, it worries me. So
it worries me more that Xbox allows things like this to come out to be put out into the world. It's the same thing we have with like the James Gunn stuff, for example. Like he's like, "Oh, the Flash is the best thing in the world." It's like, you think that's the best thing in the world?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. We're calling into question everything you've ever done now, and what you're gonna do.
Yeah, it's just I get looking after your projects and stuff. So Flash is amazing, blah, blah. Like Flash is a great hero, great character. He's very few people's top pick.
Yeah,
solving a problem by running, it's not the coolest.
It was always funny to me. I like the Flash TV show.
You're gonna have to run, Barry.
Everything's running. Everything's that's the problem. But I love the Flash TV show, so I'm not going to talk any more shit about it. Okay. Stalker 2 was shown off, the game that was massively delayed because of the Ukraine war and stuff like that going on. Fair enough. It looks really good. It looks really, really good. Very like gritty and realistic with a hint of like, I don't know if it was fantastical to it. Like they're trying to go to the point where they're like, there's so much radiation, so much testing and so much stuff going in here, like black holes and stuff like that, like and time distortion.
What do they call it?
What was happening?
In Stranger Things, the underneath or something like that.
Upside down, yeah.
Like that sort of something's bleeding through. Yeah.
It's got a really cool vibe to it. So I'm really interested in that game. Still very interested, and I hope it's amazing. Doom Dark Ages.
This I saw.
The Kratos edition, because they've given him a furry cape and they've given him a shield. Yeah. So now it's the Kratos edition.
Mate, I just love that they're like, okay, this is prerequisites to work on Doom. Be into heavy metal, be into hardcore shit, make us something cool. Did you see one of my favorite guns already? There's this gun that takes skulls and grinds it up and shoots them open.
It's hilarious. When he's reloading, he chucks it in there and it's just crunching it up, and then it's like, cool, now I can shoot. Hilarious weapon.
It's insane.
Amazing.
It's insane. And this is the bit that, not to take away from it, because I want to come back to this.
Yeah.
But you have that. How was Halo allowed to fail?
Right.
When you have the guys that make other Halo, Quakelo, basically, making some of the best games ever, actually. I loved Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially, and they keep true to what they are. If you're not interested in that stuff, fine. But that's exactly what I wanted. They're amazing. All you had to do was like, all I'm saying is they also had a chain and it worked and it didn't feel clunky.
Yeah.
Do you remember when the Halo Infinite had like
the grapple thing?
Yeah, their grapple just doesn't.
It wasn't as satisfying in any way.
Not at all. But the Doom one was fantastic. Similarly, there's some fantastic stuff in there. Very God of War. He throws the shield, it comes back to him.
Exactly.
Same as the Leviathan axe. Do I care? No. It looks amazing.
No.
It's the exact same power fantasy.
Yeah.
Kratos and Doom Guy are the same guy. One guy's in fantasy, one guy's like fighting demons. That's it.
Yeah.
Sci-fi demons, fantasy. Like, I don't. It's what I want.
It was a great
exactly
trailer. It
what
was
I
a
want.
great trailer. One tiny little thing that got me. One tiny little niggle.
Yeah.
For refresh my memory, Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
Was it very open?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The levels are massive.
Massive, or were they open?
Massive. They're very big. It's not open. It's
was
large levels on rails.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. So not very many like open landscapes or anything like that.
I mean,
again, maybe just forgetting stuff.
I would probably maybe replay Doom Eternal and see how you feel about it. Because I definitely remember a lot of the maps feeling very open, but it's very clear you're supposed to head in a given direction.
Interesting. Maybe I'm just forgetting. So bear that in mind when I'm about to say what I'm about to say. A lot of the areas looked very open to me, and it reminded me a lot of Halo Infinite. Remember the trailer where there was like those open areas with like just nothing in the area other than like a few enemies and stuff like that, and some spires and some buildings. I don't remember Doom Eternal being like that. Again, maybe completely misremembering.
Maybe I'll rewatch the footage.
Have a look at the trailer when you get a chance, and you guys have a look at the trailer as well. That little thing gave me a little PTSD shock for a second. I was like, oh no, wait, are they going open world with Doom? I don't remember Doom being open world. I remember them being like levels. I remember there being...
There were levels. You select... Once you finish the game, you select what level you go back to.
Right. And I remember there being like a lot of corridors, and then when there was an area where there was like a good bunch of enemies and maybe a boss, there was like a open-ish area, more like a platform. Type of thing. And there were like levels that you can jump on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. I don't remember there being an open like field, for example, with a building in the background and whatnot. As I said, it felt very much like the Halo trailer that we got where everyone ripped on it.
Yeah, I'm not saying they wouldn't do it. I feel like it'd know what they're doing with Doom.
Right, surely they're not like, let's fuck up the formula. Let's fuck it up.
That's the thing. It's like, okay, so I think it would probably make one big change. And the one big change it seems that they made is they've gone back in time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? They've gone to, before all of this stuff on Earth kicks off. Right, hopefully we'll end this game in the sarcophagus. That would be cool. Getting captured.
That would be great.
Like, that would be sick. How did they do it, sort of thing. So I feel like not very many people are like, let's change the formula and go back in time, and then let's change the formula and completely fuck up.
Let's fuck it all up.
The thing that people, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that they wouldn't do it. Games do this all the time,
Let me I want to send you a quick picture. Copy image, send it to you. I don't know if you saw this in the trailer. It's essentially a Doom Megazord.
I did see this.
Oh my god!
Are you kidding?
That looks like the coolest thing in the world.
There was a lot of cool stuff.
It's a Gypsy Danger, essentially.
Yeah. It's anti-demon Gypsy Danger. And but there's also other stuff, like there's you have a pet dragon, it seemed like.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think that's what I'm saying, is it feels like they've got enough extra that they're not going to go, let's also make it open world.
Yeah.
So I'm relatively comfortable right now in saying maybe just the levels are bigger, because Doom Eternal came out in 2018? No. 2019?
Might have been 2018. I'm going to say Doom Eternal release date.
Yeah.
2020, shit, man! It feels like it was way longer.
So what I'm getting at is 2020 releasing in 2020 is still previous gen. PS5, Xbox X, much more powerful than the previous consoles. Maybe they just went, we can have bigger levels here, and that's where I'm at the minute. I will rewatch the trailer and see what I think with your input in mind, because you're not the sort of guy to just be like, no, this is bad. And you also are the sort of guy to give stuff you don't like a try, like Suicide Squad. You don't like Suicide Squad, and you played that.
I really don't like Suicide Squad as a property in general, and I still bought the game.
You bought the game and enjoyed it.
And everyone's dogging him at the moment about dogging on Acolyte, for example. We're going to talk about it in the Conbrosations podcast. I've started watching the Acolyte because I'm like, I need to know. I need to know for myself. I need to be able to see this stuff. So, and it seems like from what everyone's saying, it's something I would absolutely hate. So there we go.
Some of these, some people just can't be trusted.
Yeah.
Like as an example, probably the most controversial episode of anything is episode 3 of The Last of Us. I think it's one of the best things of TV I've ever seen. Ever. It also maybe didn't fit exactly into the show, so I can understand that. But that wasn't the criticism that I heard.
No, people were making stupid criticisms.
Yeah, the criticisms that I heard were, it's bad, it's awful, pushing an agenda, blah, blah, blah. No, it was one of the most incredibly done love stories I've ever seen in any format ever. And maybe didn't fit perfectly in The Last of Us show.
Yeah.
And missed a couple of tie-ins that would have been just fantastic to see.
Would have been so perfect.
Like, what's Joel's favour? I owe you one, right? Like, cool. But other than that, it was incredible. So some of the flack, not justified.
Yeah.
Equally, you get flack for things like Forspoken, that very much justified. So it is. I do think it's worth checking these things out for yourself.
Yeah, highly recommend doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
I do like that as everyone's been saying online. So it's essentially the Kratos edition because you put a fur cape on someone, immediately someone becomes cooler.
Facts.
Immediately. And just that was enough for me. I was like, right, Kratos edition.
Yeah, right, exactly.
The next thing that they showed, noteworthy, a new Gears of War game. It's a prequel. It's called E-Day. It was like their little bomb drop at the end. I don't have that much of an attachment for Gears of War, so it wasn't that much of a bomb drop for me. But it looked cool. It looked great. It was just a cinematic. So great. Gears of War's a decent franchise,
Gears
I hear.
of War.
The last one apparently wasn't so great, but...
Didn't play it.
Yeah.
Gears of War was very much around at the time where Xbox was king. So you're sort of like 360 era, and maybe a hair before, where... I think Halo is better and cooler, personally, and I didn't love the third-person shooter aspect of it, but it had its own competitive scene. It is a good IP. The dudes are basically less high-tech Space Marines. They're just mountains of muscle, which is dope.
They need to have a big U behind them to be Ultramarines.
Exactly. And the story is good enough, and I think this could be a good one.
Okay.
I think that could be good. I don't think it's enough to... I'm not craving a third-person shooter, so it won't be for me. But I want to get back to the era of like COD, Halo, Doom, Gears of War. Like, I'd love to be back there.
This is what I mean. So, as I said, I've never been like a Gears of War fan. I've seen like the art and it looks great and the idea seems nice.
It's cool.
He seems like a cool character, the main guy that you always see on all
Phoenix.
the artwork. Couldn't tell you. Yeah. He was in this one, however. But just seeing this, I'm like, this could be something I play. And I don't know if it's just because all of that pressure has now been released off of Xbox. Now they're multi-platform. Now they're third party. It's just like everything's opened up. Now it can just be like,
oh, I'll tell you, if you
I'm interested in so much more.
If you said to me, oh, Sheps, I saw the trailer for Gears of War, it looks interesting, I'm thinking about picking it up, I wouldn't be like, no, you're wasting your money. I'd be like, absolutely, you should definitely play it, see what you think. I don't love the third-person shooter thing.
I personally do, but...
I think you should, in that case, I think you should pick it up.
I was going to say, I'm thinking, whenever I think in a third-person shooter, I'm thinking Uncharted, I'm thinking The Order 1886.
I think you should pick it up.
I'm thinking all that stuff.
You should play it.
Death Stranding and stuff like that. These are all my bags. So
I mean, I'm not going to spend your money for you. If they don't butcher the story, if they make it an interesting one and tie stuff in and like knowing where the story went, and if they just made some decisions, they can put stuff in now that makes it look like it was on purpose, that sort of thing. Like, I would say if it's a good installment or even just like not the worst, I think you'd enjoy it. It's good fun. Gears of War's good.
And the final thing in terms of games that I think is noteworthy, we finally got to see gameplay from the world's first quadruple A game, Perfect Dark. And it looked okay. It looked okay. It looked like a video game. It looked like a video game.
Because that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Quadruple A, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. because it just looked like a video game to me.
Do you know, like, when they said that as well, I'm like, quadruple A, this game's going to have to be the best game ever made and suck my dick while I play it to make it like a next level above. Like, what are you talking about? Especially when games like, you have games like God of War and God of War do.
Yeah.
You have games like God of War and they're like, yeah, AAA studio.
Right.
There you go. Here's the best we can do.
I really don't know what they meant.
And these dudes are like, cool, those guys aren't even in our league.
It's like Red Dead Redemption 2.
Look at these peasants. Yeah. RDR2, God of War, Last of Us, get fucked.
I really don't get it because it looked fine, right? There's one qualm I have about it, but it is a personal thing. Maybe a lot of other people share this. I don't like first person. I don't like first person parkour.
I actually really agree with you there.
Yeah, oh, you do agree.
I really agree with you.
Something about things in the world being so close to my face. I don't like if I'm actually doing parkour. I'm not looking directly at the wall in front of me, going like that when I'm jumping. I'm looking like this, trying to get to where I'm going, and you can't convey that in video games.
Agree.
It gets too chaotic. And I don't like it when I'm playing video games. It's just like something that's too close to my face. I get like weird feelings in my head and whatnot.
This is how I feel playing VR, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. You see, it's just one of them things. And they have that in it. Now, the game isn't a parkour game, but it has parkour in it. And that's like one of the traversal mechanics.
Yeah.
The other stuff, it looked very... I mean, it was like futuristic. It was in a futuristic society. She has like a cool gadget, this main protagonist.
I feel like this is one of those games where you release it, it's the best thing ever made, and you go, yeah. There was a joke around the office that it was the first like quadruple A game. That's how you do it. You don't go, quadruple A game, nothing you've seen even compares. Here is a video game.
I hope this game turns out to be good. I hope that we all forget about the quadruple A thing. We'll just move on to the side.
Regardless, I'm going to send the odd like quadruple A, just A randomly to devs here and there.
It's going to be.
I'm back on my game of Ghost of Tsushima propaganda trip as well. Have you seen this?
Yeah. Seen it? Oh, hilarious. It's the best joke ever.
They've started being more active, I feel, which means we're probably getting a Ghost of Tsushima announcement soon. Gonna just get started early.
Let's get started, boys. Early bird catches the worm.
Like, it's random stuff. So I'm like, we're really hyped for this. I'm like, do you know what would be really hyped? Or like,
Obi-Wan Duel sounds really...
Do you know, there's nothing more satisfying than deflecting an arrow. Do you know what I'd love to deflect? The blows of my enemies in Obi-Wan Duels in Legends mode.
There's just, internally, I'd love to imagine that internally.
Imagine they're like, this fucking guy.
This fucking guy, every single post he's there.
Yeah. Who are you talking about? Oh, the guy that keeps talking about Obi-Wan Duels. Why is he after the accounting team? Terry, the parking attendant, knows this dude.
He even gets to like Herman Holst level. Herman's like, he's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Also, Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne. Will somebody stop this guy?
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne. Oh man. What was he talking about?
Not a clue.
Oh, regardless, the game.
Yes,
there is a cool element to it. It seems like it's espionage type mission.
I think Dark is a cool franchise.
I didn't know anything about it previously
yeah.
until like Xbox started talking about it as like the next greatest thing ever. And it seems coolish. Like there's some gadgets that she uses to be able to see heat signatures of people. It seems all lovely.
It's sort of like I'd call it a more action-based, like Metal Gear Solid vibe.
Okay.
It's sort of how I'd... That's pretty shitty, but that's like probably what I'd go for, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway... It's coming out. We've actually seen some gameplay of it finally, which is a big thing. Yeah, and that wraps up pretty much my personal opinions on like the highlights of video games. They did reveal a new Xbox console, the adorably digital Xbox Series X.
Is that what they're actually calling it?
They didn't call. They called it that in the leak from the trial. And I tweeted that before. I was like, if they show off the adorably digital Xbox, I'm gonna fucking lose it, and they did. Which is going to sell for $449, and this will solve all of Xbox's console sale problems.
Not so sure about that one.
I just literally don't know why it exists.
Well, what about the Series S?
And they also unveiled a 2 terabyte version of the Xbox Series X with the disc drive, and it's like $600. And I'm like, all these things are unnecessary. You cannot sell consoles. Why are you making more?
You didn't need more variety. In fact, the big problem you had was that there were 2 consoles to buy in the first place. You know? Yeah.
Focus on the games, and that's what you need to focus on.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was the end of the show. They also made a point as well, and this is the interesting part of the show. Phil Spencer made it a point to say Call of Duty will be coming to Xbox Game Pass day 1. A big talking point over the past couple of months. We've been like, are they going to do it? What are they going to do?
Why are they doing it? But okay, yeah.
Here we go.
Seems like a terrible idea, money-wise,
So
business-wise.
So here's the thing. It's coming to Xbox Game Pass day 1, sort of, kinda.
Okay.
So here's how it's going to work. For the first time ever, they're doing it in a super complicated way, and in some ways kind of unfair in terms of price.
You get mission 1 and 3, day 1. But if you want the prologue, the epilogue, and the...
Almost, all right? Almost. They're doing it in a super complicated way, and in some ways kind of unfair in terms of pricing and stuff like that. So, if you have Game Pass Core, which used to be Xbox Live, they renamed it, you get nothing. You don't get it. That's just that. So
sick. So it's not coming to Game Pass.
You could be fooled into buying Game Pass, and they'd be like, "Oh, actually, you don't get shit." So then there you go. If you have Game Pass for console, you get Call of Duty the campaign only. So the campaign is coming to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Right? If you want the whole game with multiplayer and zombies, you have to get Game Pass Ultimate, which is like the top tier one,
like
$17.99 or whatever it is. The super expensive one.
Why not just buy the game?
Especially if you're going for the multiplayer aspect.
But then
you want to
why would I
pay
buy the game? Because I have Game Pass for this whole reason.
$17 a month.
Yeah.
If you're going to play the multiplayer, you might as well buy the game, right? However, if you have Game Pass on PC, you get the whole game. You get the multiplayer and everything, and you only have to pay $10 a month.
I've never understood this. I don't get why PC gets such a good deal on game prices. I've never understood that. And we know they'll just pirate it.
This is the thing. I like to think about these kind of things. These things always interest me, like why companies make decisions, why certain phenomenons happen in terms of fandom and stuff like that. All super interesting. And I spend a lot of time thinking about it, and a lot of time goes past so I can hear lots of arguments. And eventually, it takes a lot for me to go right to the end and be like, okay, I've got a definitive stance now. I understand it. It is just that they have a strong arm over them. It's not that they were like, oh, we're being kind to the PC gamers, or the PC gamers deserve it. It's literally like, well, if we don't, we'll pirate it. So I guess some money is better than no money.
Yeah, because
literally that's the end of it.
We know that they have an adorably digital Xbox Series X, right? So it can't be that it's the physical media.
Yeah.
And it's, I believe, still the case that this stuff's developed for console and then they make it on PC. I believe.
Not sure.
Definitely used to be the case.
Yeah.
So I'm basically a PC gamer in this, but most of the gaming I've been doing has been Apex Legends on PC, and that's not a lot recently. But I don't see why, you know.
Yeah.
Other than they just won't pay for it, they'll pirate it or something, right?
Yeah.
So again, another unfair thing that sucks. But overall, something coming to Game Pass more than I thought they should do.
Yeah.
Although they do seem to be just trying to rinse people for money.
They've made it in such a stupid way that you'd be a fool to be paying Xbox unless you're already in Game Pass Ultimate, which you're a fool if you do that anyway. But if you're already in it, then it's okay.
Maybe this
otherwise there's no reason.
Maybe this is their attempt to get to that point that I've been saying, which is it should come to Game Pass after like 6 months, and then do you know what I mean? And so now they're like, well, actually, what if we make it more beneficial to the gamer to just buy the game and stay on a cheaper Game Pass? Then we get the Game Pass and they pay for the game. Maybe they're just trying to
There's two things in this whole thing that was very classic Xbox. Like I said, the whole thing felt very unlike Xbox, except for these two things, which you find out afterwards, after the show's done. You're like, oh, okay, this is
right. With you.
The ton of multi-platform games are the games that are coming to PlayStation that they neglected to mention. Like 2/3 of them are all coming to PlayStation, and some more probably going to be announced. They just haven't been announced yet.
Yeah.
And this, because on stage they were acting like it's like, yeah, if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, boom, you get all of our games for free. And then it's like, well, I mean, you don't get the part that you want, obviously, the part that everybody knows about.
You have to upgrade to...
You have to pay so much more money to get that, and in which case it's probably not even beneficial for you to get that.
Theory.
Yes, technically.
There's at least one person who will get it.
And I'm like,
day and day.
Fucking hell, you and your politicians speak. It's just so annoying. And I was like, that's the classic Xbox right there.
That is the classic Xbox.
Okay, so overall, that was everything pretty much that was interesting to me.
So
overall, it was a good show.
Yeah.
I rated it a 7 out of 10. Some people took umbrage with my 7.
I think that's pretty decent.
I think it's pretty decent. I mentioned it to Zacchino. He was like, no, that's like cope and whatnot. He was being hilarious. That's what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't feel like there was anything that was like a mic drop moment, which warrants like a 9 or a 10 or something like that. Like, back in 2000, God knows where it was, where Hideo Kojima came on stage and he was like, I'm back, and he unveiled whatever.
Yeah.
That's a mic drop moment. Yeah. That's awesome. The unveiling of Elden Ring at Summer Games, mic drop moment. Sure. These are big things that I'm like...
if they'd have shown Elder Scrolls 6, that would have been it.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Bam. Yeah. Cool. Fair enough.
I'd have maybe bumped up my thing. Yeah. Oh, one thing as well, they showed Fable and looked kind of interesting.
Okay.
I was on board.
Fable's one I'm incredibly worried about.
We said that on the thing was like Sheps is a big fan and whatnot, stuff like that.
Big.
It looked good.
Okay.
My opinion. So maybe we're in for a good game.
To read. I think there are people out there that went, new Gears of War, that's a mic drop. It's not. Gears of War hasn't been a mic drop since,
especially when the last installment wasn't so good. How can you be? Yeah.
No, so it's not. I have a very warm place in my heart for Gears, but it's not that. Now, if it comes out and it's like incredible, then it still wasn't a mic drop when they did it, because the last one sucked. Gears hasn't been out since, I want to say like 2012.
No, there's been one before. There was Gears
4 and 5, I think.
Gears 5. When was Gears 5 out?
And
Gears
of War, from my memory, which I wasn't the biggest Gears of War guy, followed a
2019 Gears 5.
That's 5. What was before that?
Gears.
When was that?
4?
Because
2016 apparently.
Maybe I'm off then. But I was going to say, my recollection is that Gears followed a very similar path to Halo OG, meaning that like 1 to 3 was solid, really good, and then there was like an extra one, so like Reach and ODST for Halo, and I think Gears 3 just went a long time, and then 4 came out and it wasn't so good, and then it was competing with much more updated games, and then 5 sucked. So I think that's frustrating. I could be wrong on that. Correct me if I am.
Could be.
But it is good to see that they're sort of reviving older IPs. I've been screaming this from the rooftops. Like, they have Rare, they have Banjo-Kazooie, which is another one I think they should do. It feels like Get Family Gaming, that like Spyro Crash Bandicoot type.
I have a worry.
Yeah.
So this was a very good step.
Yeah.
That Xbox did.
Yeah.
Now, it is only one step. You can't make a correlation from one singular point.
I agree.
You need to see a couple of steps in the right direction. A lot of these games are coming out in 2025. Do you want to know what other game is coming out in 2025?
Good.
GTA 6. I am extremely worried that Xbox are going to do a bunch of things right. They're going to do a lot of good things. They're going to produce some not incredible games, but very good games.
Yeah.
And they're going to come out in the same year as GTA 5, and everyone is going to fucking forget it. And all of that good work is going to be like, you see, making good games means nothing.
It's
and it's
the
like
Guerrilla Studios, like, it's like releasing Zero Dawn next to Zelda, and then
Forbidden West next to Elden Ring. I'm very worried this is what's going to happen, and they're going to take entirely the wrong message from this. Phil Spencer's going to be like, well, you see?
I told you
that making good games is pointless.
And then we'll have to be like, no, you did everything right. This is a great year for Xbox. Please don't change. You know, imagine us having to come out and be like, Xbox did everything right. It just happened to be the worst year to do it. You know?
I'm very, very, very worried about it. Very worried.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We can't change it. It's the voice from the ship in Justice League. It's like the future has taken root in the present. It's like that's it. We're done. We're on this path now. We just gotta go. We just gotta go.
We're on the way. We're on this roller coaster now. Yeah.
Okay, the next show.
Yeah.
Summer Games Fest announcements. It was, oh my god, it was so boring.
I came to your stream and saw you falling asleep, and I was like, I will suffer through this just to hang out with the boys. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to do it. I'm out.
Even I was out halfway through the show. I'm like, guys, I'm literally falling asleep. I'm gonna have to go to bed.
It's a good thing we postponed the show. I think to be fair, the Xbox One was worth it. That actually was worth it.
But literally, I felt bad. I was like, man, we postponed our recording day so we could fit this in, so we could talk about it. And I literally fell asleep.
And I remember asking you, do you think there'll be anything worth talking about at Summer Games Fest? Because I'm doubtful. And you're like, you never know. Just be safe. I'm like, okay, fair enough.
It's so bad. Do you know what it is? It was so bloody boring, and I hate that Jeff tried to pitch it as like he's doing a favor for indie devs by putting on this show. He kicked it off with like
quite a favor. I'd love to do favors like that.
A favor, and also for $250,000 for a minute pop. What the fuck?
I'll do you a lot of favors for a $250,000.
Yeah, I'll do a huge. I'll change the tire. I'll do it.
Yeah.
This guy,
you got a blocked sink. Mate, I'll do you a favor.
He pitched it as like, he's shielding like the gaming industry, because he was he was trying to pitch it as like, there are like layoffs in the industry and whatnot, and small indie developers like so and so are doing great work, and aren't they really great? Only because his show is going to be filled with really small projects and indie games. Because he needed those desperately, because no one else was coming to pay him for anything else. Like no big games.
Why would they? Because everybody else has Twitter and they have the following or X.
Exactly.
Are we calling it X? I think I'm just calling it Twitter forever now. Same with Facebook. I'm not calling it Meta.
Twitter.
Yeah.
I can't say S. I can't say Meta. I can't do that. It's so, and he was acting like, I'm giving a voice. I'm giving a stage for all of these games. I'm being a hero to these small studios.
There's been all these layoffs. You need to pay me $250,000.
Right, when he's charging $250,000 for a minute trailer.
For a very low energy. Yeah.
I was like, what would have been really great is if you took on like for a huge discount, because you still need to make money, huge discount for this 1 year, because you realize that you actually don't have the draw.
Yeah.
And maybe do some people some good.
Yeah.
But it came out immediately that he was charging so much money for all these people, and it was quite. I'm starting to dislike
Jeff Keighley. I feel you. Where like the first one he did, it felt like, obviously it was a way to make money, but like it felt like a passion project that he was monetizing.
Yeah.
And now it just feels like he's acting like he's E3 when he's not.
He really does think quite highly of himself. Yeah.
Or Summer Games Fest. And Summer Games Fest has been notoriously boring. It's been 3 years. Yeah. I don't think I'm tuning into the next one. So
he needs to take a step back, realize that he's not the center of gaming.
It's also not very entertaining.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you don't have something entertaining, do something about that. Either maybe take a year off or something like that. Yeah. Or I want to say he tried to communicate, but he didn't say the right words. Right. He tried to say like, this year's going to be more like an 8 out of 10 type show. And I was like, you only ever say a less than perfect score if you think it's terrible, because you'll never say, it's shit.
Yeah, of course.
It's either, it's a 8 out of 10 show, we'll keep your expectations appropriate. Or, this is the greatest thing ever. You do a Phil Spencer. We are the best, and we're the best thing ever, blah, 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 blah. And when I first heard that, I was like, it's an indication. Yeah. Anyway, there were a couple of things in there.
There was at least one standout to me, I thought.
Exactly. There's a Lego Forbidden Horizon
Very
Adventures,
cool.
they're calling it.
Carl was super into that, although he missed it.
Yeah, he did miss it. So funny. He's the biggest Lego fan.
And he just missed it as well. He literally turned up a minute after it finished.
I love as well that I didn't put the connection. I was like, he's the biggest Lego fan in the world.
Yeah.
And I didn't think to tell him when he came in. He's like, did I miss anything? And I was like,
No,
no, he
just a Lego
didn't really
Horizon.
miss anything. And then later on, we're like, oh yeah, there was a Lego game. There was a Lego game. It's so funny. So that looked cool. I was interested because I was like, is Horizon that big of a property that Lego are like all up on it?
I mean, it is a good story.
It is a good story, but I didn't know that Horizon was that big. I mean, I understand they made the Lego tall neck figures and whatnot, but that's more like a license thing and seems smaller.
I think it is because we fall into the thing of knowing how big of the other games released next to it. So we think it's not that big, even though I enjoy it. I think it's a good game, but yeah, I think it totally. And it's also...
I'm thinking of other Lego games like Lego Batman, Lego Star Wars.
They do see... Those are bigger IPs, I agree, yeah. But
I just thought it was interesting.
Also, I think it's easier to sell, unironically, if you're Lego. It's easier to sell the Robo dinosaurs and Aloy models than like in God of War or The Last of Us. So I think it's a better IP. Of the three, that's the best.
It goes hand in hand, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Blumhouse Games, which is previously... Blumhouse is a movie studio that does horror movies, and they're getting into video games. They showed off a sizzle reel of some stuff, and it looked quite interesting.
Yeah.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was revealed. I didn't play the first one, but I've seen a lot of it, and it looks really cool. Very, like, obviously medieval and stuff like that. An Alan Wake DLC. Alpha jizzed his pants quite a lot to that.
I was
Night
worried he would
Springs.
dehydrate on the spot.
Exactly. And Phantom Blade Zero, which is like a really cool, like Japanese sort of Sekiro-esque type thing and whatnot. Very, very cool looking. And and some nerd Quidditch game, which sucked balls.
There was a game, I forget that it was like Entropia or something like that looked like a Dark Souls where the guy was like changing masks and that changed his powers.
Maybe it was when I went to sleep.
I think you were awake because I was there.
Oh yeah, but I was falling asleep during the thing, so I could have easily.
That looked really interesting to me. It looked like it could be a cool mechanic because the guy faces off against a king or something and then takes his face and then now he's king. So it looked.
I am the
cool.
king.
Yeah. So that looked interesting to me. So I'll have to find out more about that.
Yeah, but you also like anime, so who cares?
Although it was more in like a Western style thing. It was less. It wasn't really an anime game.
Okay, well maybe it is interesting then. Maybe it's worth my eyes.
Elden Ring.
Elder Scrolls. Elden Scroll.
Elden Scroll. That's it, you know.
And that was pretty much it for the Summer Games Fest one. As I said, not great.
No, not great.
Jeff, please, for the love of God, get off of your high horse. You're not the center of gaming, and we don't want to see you fail. We just don't want you to think you're better than everyone else.
And the thing is, like, there's some incredible indie projects out there, but they don't have $250,000 to spend on the slot.
So
instead of
much
saying, it's an
money,
8 out of
man.
10, why don't you say, I'm actually really excited because this is going to be an indie showcase. These are going to be all of the smaller titles that you're unlikely to have heard of, as well as some bigger ones, but and some bigger development houses. But like, there'll be some well-known projects in here that are really hopeful.
Yeah.
And I'm so keen to get to show these guys off to you because, right now there's a bit of a glut for games. So check out some of these awesome projects.
Wouldn't it have been amazing if he said absolutely nothing about there was no word about the cost or anything like that. He did all these things. He showed off these showcases. Maybe he communicated a bit earlier as well. But we have a ton of these indie. So if you started mentioning from before, it's like we have a great indie scene that a lot of people don't know about, and I want to show a lot more of that because absolutely. I believe they deserve the respect. And then it turns out that afterwards, that one of the indie studios, like, he did us a solid. He did fucking like 20 grand, and he just gave us this 1 minute spot. And he had like 50 games on there.
The big games, paid for $250,000 for their spot, and he likes our project, so he gave us like a 90% discount.
So much more respect for him, but and I understand bills need to be paid and stuff like that. But if you don't have the material to show, then you've only got really one option: be humble about it and not rip people off.
Well, also maybe you don't need this huge studio with like guest presenters in their cringe, like awfully acted, pre-scripted event. Maybe you just have a blue screen and you say, look, here are some of the best things. You cut costs there.
We need Al Pacino on screen. Why?
Like, just show some great games, some great projects, right? Do people a solid and have it be a good show because you showed some great stuff with high energy, not because you're the only thing out there.
Yeah.
You know? Big Sag.
Moving on from one snooze fest to another. State of Play was it was a couple of weeks ago. It was right when I was in Poland, which was great. I was going to stay up. I'm glad I didn't. This was a bit better than Summer Games Fest, but still, after many, many months of not hearing from PlayStation, it was not what we needed. It was very, very lackluster in terms of that. We didn't get any real updates for any real good games that we want. We did get a reveal. We did get an update for one game that we really wanted to see, and it turned out to be shit. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But overall, a very mid experience and left people wanting a lot more.
Yeah, I know in a good way. Not like, oh, give us more of that, but like, this is not what I tuned in for.
We asked for solid updates and you gave us jack shit. Let me go over some of the highlights. So some of the good stuff, a new Astrobot game was shown off.
That was about the highest.
Exactly. That was definitely the peak right there. Right at the end, it was like...
Which is sad. Like, Astrobot's cool.
I'm a big fan of Astrobot, especially after playing the Playroom that came with the PlayStation 5 and Astrobot Rescue Mission that was on PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
I was screaming since then, we need a game. We need a solid game of this.
Yeah.
It could be like PlayStation's Mario. That's how good it was. And this trailer looks fantastic. It looks amazing.
It looks like fun. Well, I knew you would be coming your pants as soon as you saw the Kratos stuff.
Yeah. And the problem is, do you know what I thought immediately after? I was like, why is it that PlayStation is sitting on a gold mine? They could easily be selling.
There's no Joel. Like
they could easily be selling Astrobot figures.
Like
in the style of like Kratos, have a Nathan Drake one, have a Joel one, an Ellie one. Like, you guys sitting on a fucking gold mine
like
here.
the Funko Pops, but specific for
Exactly. I was like, oh, you guys are fucking dying here.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was really amazing. There were a couple of PlayStation VR 2 games, some standouts. Alien Rogue Incursion, which in VR, you just know it's going to be amazing. Alien and in your face. It needs to be.
Yeah, that's definitely not for me.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I remember Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
Not in VR. That was scary.
Yeah.
This is going to be even better. A game from Skydance, Behemoth is called. It's like a medieval style game with a hint of fantasy in it, where you're fighting in first person with like hand-to-hand combat, stuff like that. Imagine like long swords and things like that.
That sounds like
it sounds really good. Yeah. Ben even messaged me. He was like, I'm coming over to your house to play this game because it looks so fucking cool. I think it looked really good. I'm really interested in that. Until Dawn, that was on the PlayStation 4, is also coming to the PlayStation 5.
Okay.
Didn't know that was a big like request. Apparently it was good.
It's nice to see stuff getting updated. I guess maybe not a state of play announcement, but okay.
God of War Ragnarok's coming to PC. Great.
Why is that a state of play? Okay.
Silent Hill 2's coming. They got a release date for that as well. And that was really it.
Yeah, I didn't see anything more than that.
It's pretty mid show.
If your highlights Astrobot, you know,
no shade to Astrobot, but really, if that is the thing, let's talk. All right, so those were the highlights, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the one thing that everyone wanted to see that is gonna be garbage. Concord. Do you remember Concord was one of the live service games that is coming out? I got this vibe from the beginning, and I don't know why I didn't stick with it. It showed like a ship going through space, and everything was vibrating, and there was like little bobblehead stuff in the background. It was giving very Guardians of the Galaxy vibe from it. And essentially, that's what it is. It's like a 4-person hero shooter.
Oh yeah,
for PlayStation, and it's so cringe. Like all of the writing and all of the voices and stuff like that. There was a time when hero shooters were fun and they were kind of adorable, like Overwatch Days, for example.
Yeah. No, this is different.
We're very much not there with Concord. It's Tesco version of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And it's just filled with
this, and I'd forgotten about it.
Mate, you did good to forget about it.
There's other stuff out there, like, you know, they're doing the Marvel's heroes thing, and that is literally just a reskin of Overwatch. I recognize half the maps and half the skills. And I'm like, it's actually just a reskin of Overwatch.
It's all these businessmen, isn't it? They just see the success and how much money comes in from these live service shooters, and they're like, just do the same thing, but with our property.
I gotta stop you there. If you wanted to do a reskin of Overwatch, the year was 2019.
Right.
Not now with Overwatch 2, where all the passion's out of it and no one cares. Yeah,
no one gives a shit about it anymore. Unfortunately, you can't convince these suits of that, so that's the issue. Anyway, it was very much dogged on. Everyone disliked what they were seeing, and yeah, we're now in a Concord world. I feel bad for the developers. It's gonna crash and burn, I feel like.
Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be good.
Oh, maybe.
I mean, I'm not going to put money on it.
Yeah, let's.
And I'm not buying it.
I'm not silly now. Come on, let's not do that. Yeah. So that's
not the play for me.
Yeah. There was. Anyway, that was the end of the state of play. That was the end of the 3 showcases. High, low. It is what it is. PlayStation really need to kick it into gear because we really don't know what we're getting in the next couple of years. No. Wolverine from the leaks was it was almost fucking finished.
Yeah.
We still didn't hear anything about that.
Well, I mean, it's Insomniac. And again, I know people, we haven't seen anything. Yeah, we have. We know what Insomniac makes. It's going to be good. It's going to play similarly to Spider-Man. I'm not... Now, could they flop? Yeah, absolutely. It could happen. Is it likely? No. They know the IP. It's very obvious that people know and like Spider-Man and stuff like that. Yeah, they mishandle some things, but overall, not worried. But I'm also we need more. They can't just rest on Insomniac to fill the gap, you know? Yeah. So it's about time for a Ghost of Tsushima 2 update.
Ghost of Tsushima 2, want to see some Wolverine, want to see that God of War DLC that I know you guys are working on. You know, you're keeping it in the back pocket. I know you
of course,
son of bitches.
I mean, they told us they were done, and then they come out with was it Valhalla?
Valhalla, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not. I don't expect any DLC for God of War Ragnarok, bitch. Anyway, and that's all the gaming really that we have talking about there. Thank you guys for joining us for this episode of the True Gamer Podcast. It was great talking about great games, at least for a bit.
Especially some exciting stuff on the Xbox side for once. It feels like the first time in 10 years.
Refreshing, isn't it? Jesus Christ. This is what you could do. Again, I just feel like they're going to release it around GTA and they're just going to be like, see? This is what happens when you make good games.
That year's going to be scuffed for numbers because... As long as it's not bad. I mean, imagine GTA 6 is the worst game ever made. Imagine it just flops. Do you know what I mean? Imagine it's like a Halo Infinite.
I was going to say, nah, it's Rockstar. They can't do that. Didn't we say the same thing about CDPR when Cyberpunk was coming out?
So.
And Rockstar don't have the balls to invest money to make it better and whatnot like CDPR did.
Well, I mean, they've had RDR2. And that's one of... It's an incredible seller, an incredible project, and the fan base loves the online mode. They just
let it die. There isn't even a PS5 version. There's a 60 FPS update.
So, you know, they're not exactly famous for making only good decisions. Yeah. I think that is a glaringly obvious mistake.
Yeah.
So, and maybe it's not worth it. I understand pumping more content into GTA 5 makes you more money, but that's not the point. Yeah. So yeah, I could be. I hope it's good. I want it to be good. More good games is more good for more gamers.
That's true.
But
those words are correct.
Those are some good words.
Those are great words,
and in that specific order. But could they mess it up? Yeah. Is it likely? Probably not. Anybody that's been buying GTA 5 for this long is probably not too fussed if it's not the best game ever made, you know. And most of those guys are on the online mode anyway, as long as that is just an updated version of the current thing. Yeah. I think they won't care. So I think we'll have to take everything with a grain of salt in that year, is my guess.
Let's see.
We'll see.
All right. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you for the support, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye-bye. I'm now going into the shadows. I'm
Are you?
forced ghosting out of here.
Are you? Is that a thing?
I don't know. Is that?
I thought you were like,
I'm
'cause you
making
said you
it
watched
canon.
The Acolyte, and I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, is that a thing they do now?
I have a. Well, I'm going to save it for the Conversation podcast.
Cool.
It's something they said. Isn't that canon? And I'm like, what did you just say? What did you just say?
I did see some of the cast talking about things, and it's like, you're using characters from entirely different time periods here. What are you talking about?
It seems so fucking nuts. But
Yeah.
anyway, we'll talk about it in a second.